Okay, welcome back to the Yins Betcha podcast. It is good to be back. A lot of sports, a lot of stuff to talk about. Football is done, officially done. It's a sad time,
Sad.
very sad time. But it's also fun because of what we have coming up in March Madness and all the other stuff that you get excited for after football. But yeah,
There's more filler than there used to be. I always
Yeah.
felt like it was a really long time until football season started again, but there's a lot to get you through.
There really
You
is.
got March Madness, and then when that's over, you got NBA, NHL playoffs are starting, Major League Baseball is coming back. Sounds like maybe you're getting into NASCAR, so we'll talk a little bit about that. So that's a little bit of a filler for me as well.
Yeah.
It's still there is some dog days of summer though. Once you
I
get to
know.
July.
And you're
really
watching
just have
baseball every night,
Yeah,
and it's like
yeah.
a 4-game swing of the same team you've already watched. Like, playing against your favorite team, it's just like, yeah,
Sure.
it gets a lot. But we will, we'll get there. It's gonna be fun. I'm excited for baseball to be back because I miss it. It's my sport. It's what I played, so I miss it. But yeah, I'm excited to get that back too. So
That's the one sport
Very good.
I didn't write anything down to talk about.
yeah,
today.
we actually have.
But we're using the thumbnail from the
Yeah.
Guardians playoff game.
Yes,
But that was more for the U.S. flag, which
Yes.
we're going to talk about the Four Nations final.
Four Nations, man. What a implementation of
Yes.
your All-Star break, right?
Yeah.
Like, what a way to do
Yeah,
it.
I can't wait to talk about it.
Right.
And we'll compare it to, the shitty NBA All-Star weekend right now. So
Oh,
and
God.
maybe
Yeah.
what they can do to change that. So,
Yeah.
but you want to start with recap the Super Bowl? We don't
Yeah.
have a lot on this. It was fucking blowout. There ain't much
Yeah.
to talk about. Eagles earned that shit. Kudos to them. I hate Philly, but what we talked about before we went on the air is, it's up there with one of the more impressive championship runs as far as conference championship and the Super Bowl itself.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of blowouts in the Super Bowls, but there's not been as many blowouts in the championship game and in the Super Bowl, and they did it on both ends. So kudos to them. They were clearly the better team. I kind of felt that going in. I think they were more talented.
Yeah, me too. Right.
If you go position by position, the Eagles were better than the Chiefs in most, except for maybe quarterback.
Mhm.
You can make an argument on tight end, but I think Kelsey's proven he's definitely on the twilight of his career at this point. But they had no line. I mean, it looked just like the loss they had against Tampa Bay a couple years ago.
Yeah.
No time to throw.
It was the way that they won. Getting in, I forget, like we always said during the year, it's just hard to remember where we are because of how far out we are now from the actual Super Bowl. But no, it was a very commanding win, I think, for the Eagles. All in all, I just think, and you said it, they were better on both sides of the ball. I think, and the pressure. Oh, actually, I wanted to talk about the amount of sacks or pressure that the Eagles created. They could not do anything.
The four-man rush.
The four-man rush.
Yeah, they're not even all-out blitzing.
Yeah, and that offensive line was not that bad all year. Like, definitely not. So, and I remember we talked about it on the show before, and they never scored above 30 points. They had to do it they did it once. They had to do it for this for sure. But it's just, there was too much. Saquon was too much. Jalen was too much. A.J. Brown didn't have the best game. Devontae Smith had a touchdown. That was awesome.
Yep.
And that defense for the Eagles, man.
Yeah.
They are, they are good. They are very, very good.
And the score was a lot closer than what the game really was.
Yeah.
That garbage touchdown at the
Dude,
end cost
that
my
was
brother
crazy.
$800.
No.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
Worthy. Oh, man.
No.
It's going to be interesting what the Chiefs do in the offseason. They had a lot of, I think, or most of their offense felt old. I feel like there might be some decisions to make in the offseason for them. So I'll be interested to see how and what they do next.
Yeah.
But
I'm staying with my prediction. I predicted that they would win that game,
mm-hmm.
but that when they got their three-peat, they would miss the playoffs next year. I was making a pre-bowl bowl prediction for next year.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick with it. I think next year
they're not going to make it.
I'm going to say right now they don't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Chargers and Broncos out of the AFC West.
Oh, man.
We'll see. I mean,
see.
Yeah.
And the increase in salary cap for the NFL this year, Adam Schefter reported they are going to get, I don't even remember now, $25 to $50 million more. So I mean, it's another star player, if you will. So be interesting to see how the money is dealt with and done there in Kansas City too. And every coach is staying there, right?
I think so.
I mean, their offensive coordinator and their defensive coordinator deserves a job somewhere else, but he just wants to stay, I think, and win championships. So
yeah,
interesting. But yeah, New Orleans got their head coach too from the Eagles, so that was good. It'd be interesting to see how he can turn that around. That's why I really wanted to stay for that too. But
then I'm happy. All the coaching positions are filled, so
everything's done.
Another year of Brian Flores as our defensive coordinator.
I can't believe that.
I'm excited. I feel like this wasn't the year for them to do it anyway. So maybe all the eggs go in one basket next year. It'll be interesting to see who the hell our quarterback is. I'm a little nervous now that the Vikings are not going to franchise Byron Murphy Jr. However, Minnesota's only franchised somebody 3 times. So it's not like this is something that every NFL team does every year.
Yeah.
The rumor's still out there. I did see, though, I literally saw it this morning. A couple weeks ago, we were the second highest betting favorite to land Aaron Rodgers, which I was like, no. And what's so funny is everybody that he's being linked to, they're like, no, like nobody wants him. So so I think the Onion actually put in there that like every team has a wish list for where he should go. Like everybody's like, no, go over here. Like I don't know if he ends up going anywhere.
I know.
I mean, I would think the Raiders is my bet. I feel like maybe
Pete,
that happens.
Pete Carroll and them, but
maybe. But I don't know.
Well, both of our teams are linked to him at this point too, which is crazy.
True.
The Steelers and the Vikings. I mean, he's fulfilling the Favre.
Oh my god,
he is, dude. It's just set up. For
this
you
is
guys.
so much different though. Like I could not stand Brett Favre just because he was a Packer.
Yeah,
it had nothing to do with anything else. Just a blood rival, right? But Aaron Rodgers, I don't even like him as a human being.
Yeah.
Like so this goes beyond him being a Packer his whole life. I can't. Now you could have sold me on it 5, 6, 7 years ago, and I felt the same way about Favre. I'm like, it's probably too late. And as it turned out, we were one play away from getting to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And it was a magical year, and I learned to love him in that year. If you guarantee me that, like, maybe I could look past it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I'm always going to be team over everything else, though. Like, if that's what happens, I'll be wearing purple on Sunday. I'm not going to.
No, yeah.
I'm going to be waiting, just kind of like I do with fun. Like, he's going to break my heart. Like, he's going to do something fucking stupid. And I'll be waiting for it, and I'll be the one saying, I told you so.
Yeah.
When it happens.
Yeah.
But if he took us to a Super Bowl, I never have to I never really liked Randy Moss when he played, believe it or not. Like I've learned to appreciate him more now that he's done and now he's going through the cancer and all that. But when he was there, I just didn't trust, because I'm not a big fan of the prima donna wide receiver, right? And I feel like it leads to being a cancer in the locker room.
Yeah.
But then when he made that comment when he lost 41-0 to the Giants and they go on NFC Championship, and he said, this franchise is cursed, blah, blah, blah. And then 3 months later, you sign an extension to stay. I'm like, what? Like, how do you say that about a franchise and a team? Like, it almost sounded like he was on his way out.
Right.
Which, whatever, And then he does that. So, like, that, I'll never forget that. Like, I had his jersey, and I gave that away after he said that. I'm like, fuck him.
Yeah.
When he's in the end zone, I'm going to cheer because he's helping my team in that moment. But it doesn't mean I got to like the guy.
No.
And that's the same way in work life, right? Like, you can, respect a colleague and work alongside a colleague. You don't have to like them, and you don't. And that always happens. There's people you just don't like that you work with, but for the betterment of your team and your organization, you look past that and go through it. So that's what I would be without it. I don't want them, but if that's what happens, then you better just fucking win, and then that solves everything.
Yeah.
So
But
now this morning, the new betting favorite for the Vikings is Matthew Stafford. I don't know where the hell that came from, because the rumors haven't been out there.
I heard him to the Browns too. They're trying to get someone. They're trying to get
a plus 300 or something.
Wow.
To land on it, which is kind of high for it not being linked prior to that. So I mean, there's so many options out there, and now I'm starting to think the more names that get flown out there, I think we're just going to ride with McCarthy. I think it's all
probably.
bullshit. I think it's all
probably.
Just, I think it's all just noise. So
yeah.
We'll see. But I'm a little bit more scared now. I was hoping maybe we would put the franchise on Murphy, which means we let Darnold walk. Yeah. And again, I made my feelings very profound after those 2 games. I'm ready.
No, I think you are done.
Did what I wanted him to do, which was get us to the playoffs, make us believe.
Right.
We got the salary cap to get the pieces around JJ. You drafted a quarterback number 11 overall. Let's see what the fuck he is. We haven't had a franchise quarterback since Fran Tarkenton, and I'm over it.
Yeah.
I haven't had one in my lifetime. So
Culpepper
was the closest thing to that.
Yeah.
So let's go. And if it fails, then it fails. But I would rather find that out now when he's in a rookie contract.
Right.
When we have the salary cap that we do, and then go from there.
Sure.
And if we miss a boat on whatever and to me, Sam Darnold is the best free agent quarterback.
Yeah.
So that's not saying a lot. So let's see what we got.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think if they bring in a quarterback right now, it feels like they think that JJ's not ready for it.
Yeah.
But it really feels that way.
Scare me even more.
Yeah.
And then you're going to put down in his mind.
Right. How much are you on that side of it? How much are the Vikings not ready to see what they can do to make a quarterback out of J.J. McCarthy, right? An NFL quarterback, for that matter. I mean, he was a college quarterback and a damn good one. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
So what do you think about the Steelers? I'm hearing, I don't know where this came from, but somebody was saying that Fields and Russ are presenting themselves as a package deal, whether it's in Pittsburgh or not. That's
gross. That's so gross. I didn't hear that, but yeah, I don't like that at all. You were two different people, two different quarterback styles playing either, too. Mm-hmm. It's not, you are not the same. I mean, I know you can teach, Russell is teaching Fields how to be better at what he does. And he did it for a year, and that's what I thought that Justin Fields could be the guy right now. That's who I want. I'll be honest with you. Right now, if you're going to ask me, all the people that we are linked to in the free agency or Justin Fields,
you'd rather stay in-house.
I'm staying in-house with Justin Fields. He's young. He can run. He ran in Chicago. He's just not going to stop running. I know that our offense was different, but I think he can make the throws. He made the throws in college. I think he can make them all. I mean, I don't know. That's who I want. I don't want Aaron Rodgers. I don't think. I mean, I like him, but I don't think he's going to be that for us. He's not going to get us to Super Bowl.
Again, I think we're a couple years late from that.
Yeah.
If you would have got linked to him right when Ben retires.
Fine. Sure. Oh, I actually probably loved it. Yeah.
Right.
I don't know how much. If I saw an ounce, it was this year was the year to show me you had an ounce in you for Aaron Rodgers, and he had none. So now I'm sitting here
And you know what, Favre, you're right. I mean, he's following the same blueprint.
Yeah.
But the year that Favre had in New York was also a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
He looked every bit of his age. And then obviously he had the other shit with the dick pics and all the crap that he had going on swirling around him.
Yeah.
And that's just it. Rodgers got his own shit swirling, but it's all, just his mind, basically. Not, he definitely hasn't been linked to, crazy affairs or anything like that. But,
yeah.
I do think, and again, Favre was played out of his mind that first year there, and then it came back to rock bottom the very next year.
The next year.
It was, we had 1 year with it.
Yeah.
And that would be at most what you're going to get
from Aaron Rodgers.
Maybe he does get rejuvenated.
Because of what happened.
The Jets are just the fucking Jets. They're a terrible franchise. Right. Have been for, decades.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what he needs is just to get around a good team and I hate to say it, we have pieces for it, right? That is what we're probably missing is just the quarterback, and Darnold proved that. Again, he played well enough, to get us 14 wins, but it was a little bit of fool's gold. And
how long did you make it to the playoffs that year? You're
for the year of Favre, first year, we got the NFC Championship.
Oh, it was the championship. Okay.
So and had to go to New Orleans,
right?
The whole
That's right.
Shit.
Yeah.
And again, anybody that's out there, rewatch just the over. You don't have to watch the whole game if you don't want to, but if you watch the whole game, you'll see we had 6 turnovers on the road. Okay, and this game still went to fucking overtime.
Mm-hmm.
So we were the better team, but they just kept shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
Again, that's their fault. Favre's ill-advised throw when we're in field goal range. If he at least just throws it away or runs 3 yards out of bounds, Longwell kicks 48-yard field goal around the Super Bowl.
That's Super Bowl, yeah.
So that doesn't happen. But then the overtime, the calls were atrocious. I mean, there was a bad mark on a spot for 4th down.
Mm-hmm.
The guy fumbled it. They didn't call it. a phantom pass interference after the 4th down conversion. They gave him 15 more yards and got him into field goal range. Guy never touched him. So just some interesting calls for sure. So watch that overtime again. But I mean, he got us on the brink. I mean, we were one play
right there
in the Super Bowl. So and then the next year was an absolute disaster. That was the year, the fucking Metrodome roof caved in, and just the whole season caved in. They traded for Moss halfway through the year to get him back, and that didn't work. And Childress got fired halfway through the year. He definitely stayed 1 year too long.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So maybe there's that possibility. That's why I don't want to see that happen with Darnold.
No.
Maybe we caught lightning in a bottle, and again,
maybe it was lightning in a bottle. Maybe it was just like Favre. Maybe it was. He was pissed.
Darnold's obviously not old, and he's only 27. But
if he led, like if he went back to the 49ers and led them to the Super Bowl and won, how would you feel?
Who?
Darnold.
I feel like shit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
right.
But
I don't know where he's going to be. I don't think it's the 49ers. I don't think it's Brock Purdy either. But that's a lot of offseason. We'll get to that next year.
I do think the Niners are the quarterback right now.
They are missing. That is the only thing I think they're missing, to be honest with you. I think their defense is still stellar from that Super Bowl year. And that's what got them there. Yeah. Just couldn't keep up with the Chiefs.
Bad injury problems, but Debo wants out. He's been wanting out of there for a couple of years. It sounds like they're granting him the wish this time.
Yeah.
So, but that's an organization. Even when they have a down year, they come back. I mean,
they do. They do.
They're world class. They're never down for that long. So.
Right. But anyway, it's gonna be interesting. Both of our teams. I think you're definitely gonna have the better year again next year, but I don't know where we're heading. It's scary. It's really scary.
Did we bet again? I don't remember.
No, I'm good.
You don't want to bet.
Nah, I'm good.
You know what I'm going to do.
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah. No, there's no like maybe if you wanted to bet me like over under on wins for the Steelers, I'd bet you that. I can't bet you we'll win more than you, but
the schedule come out.
Right.
Let's see what my gut and see what your quarterback situation is.
That too.
We both have question marks when it comes to that. So
right, that's true.
My win total goes down if we stick with Darnold.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion. So I will tell you this though, one thing schedule wise.
Wait, hold on. Does it go up with JJ though? You think it does go up with JJ? Wow. Okay. I would think it's like right there though, until he like starts playing.
I think he's worth 2 more wins.
Wow. Okay. Do you think two more wins means like the NFC Championship game?
Well, I mean, I'm 2 more wins for total.
Oh, okay.
Year.
Okay.
So it could be 1 more regular season, maybe 1 extra playoff game.
Okay. All right. So
but speaking of schedule, so
excited.
Minnesota has 9 road games next year. Obviously, with the 17-game season, it's always going to come out that you have 8 or 9, right?
Yeah.
So they do have 9 road games, but 3 of their opponents, who are all AFC teams, have international games. So one third of our now if you're trying to be as fair as possible, if you're trying to be as fair as possible, the fact that we have 9 road games versus 8 home games, it does make sense to put us as one of the road games in an international game. Because it's not a true home field advantage, right? So, like, if you're going to be...
right.
If you're going to have 9 road to 8 home,
yeah.
One of those road basically is a neutral site.
Sure.
So it kind of evens out, right?
Right.
Now, I'm going to eliminate one that I don't think is going to happen, which is the Browns in London. Because we played the Browns in London, has to have been 7 years ago now, maybe 8. I was living in Colorado, so I think it was 2017.
Oh, yeah.
It's been 8 years.
Okay, yeah.
But we've already done it, and that actually counted as a home game for us at the time. So Browns-Vikings already happened in London. I don't think they're going to do that. We were just in London last year.
Sure.
So I don't think that's going to happen. Steelers-Vikings. That seems like that could make sense.
That would be freaking awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
Again, it's another common opponent from an international game. It was in London. I believe that was supposed to be a Viking home game as well. So I guess from a balance standpoint, Pittsburgh is the home team for this Dublin game.
Yeah.
So maybe, but that scares me a little bit that they've done Steelers-Vikings internationally. So I don't know. The one that just happened that they announced that I think is going to be more likely than the Dublin game now is the Chargers are doing Brazil opening weekend Friday, September 5th. So I'm now starting to think that might happen. Because I believe we played the Chargers in LA already, like 2 years ago. So I think that's if I'm going to bet on it. We have a 33% chance in the way you look at it
right.
that we're going to get one. And usually they like
Yeah.
the AFC NFC matchup because you're not really taking a divisional game away.
Yeah.
So I think we're going international. London doesn't make sense. We've just played the Browns, relatively recent. Steelers, when I first came out, I was like, oh my God, if we go to Dublin.
Dude.
Right? We got to do that, right?
It feels like,
But now I'm starting to think we come out of a year where we win 14 games, right?
Mm-hmm.
We could be ushering in essentially a rookie quarterback, or maybe we sign Aaron Rodgers, or somebody else other than Darnold. I think having a 14-win season, we're now appealing enough to put us on Friday night opening weekend.
Oh,
right?
man. Brazil.
So I fit Brazil.
Man.
I'm like, ooh, like,
how would you feel?
Do I go to Brazil?
Oh, yeah, I don't.
What's the flights for that?
It feels
like somebody was telling me the Dublin flights are not bad, and you can fly straight there from Cleveland. So, like, maybe the Steelers one.
I'd kill for that. Yeah.
Brazil. Who's going with me to Brazil?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I get scared of in Brazil. Like, if you're downtown Brazil, it's cool. I feel like everywhere else is kind of like not a great spot.
Oh, I definitely would have to find like a resort like that.
Like, it's going to take you there.
Take me to the hotel from the airport straight to the stadium.
It feels that right. That's like definite. Like you can't do anything outside of the resort type feel.
Or
you got to go see
you tag along on something that the team orchestrates. Or puts together. Something that basically a.
The Steelers were doing that with Dublin, and it's like $500 to pay up front, and then they save your ticket to the game, ticket plane, like all this other stuff. So like it would have to happen something like that.
They haven't even announced the date for the Dublin game. Like that's so hard to say.
Yeah, people are like,
oh, like nobody knows. Like I mean, you can't get your flight, you can't do nothing. And obviously we know the date of the Brazil game, but we don't we know the Chargers are going. So as a Chargers fan. And that's what sucks. Like, right, the Chargers fans are already booking hotels, booking flights.
Yeah.
They know they're there.
They're going.
But you don't know who the fuck they're playing. So, so the Chargers fans are getting first dibs, which I guess technically, quote unquote, they're the home team. So maybe they get those perks and and take up.
I guess they would be the farthest away from Brazil, right? I mean, like the way they would have to fly.
And now, airlines know. There is a game.
There is gonna,
So I feel like the flights are probably already the night before more than what they were before they announced
right.
So the thing that's what I said about we joked about if we do Dublin, the moment they announce it, we need to decide within that hour, like before before like the airlines catch on, like get on there, get your fucking flight, before shit, before they're like oh shit, the game's that weekend, so. Who knows, though? They're probably in cahoots with all the hotels, all the airlines. They probably tell them a week before the announcement.
Right.
This is the weekend it's going to be.
Then
adjust your prices accordingly.
Adjust them,
So,
of course.
I mean, it's crazy. I tell you, like, when we went up to Ann Arbor for that basketball game in December, what we paid for a hotel. This was a Sheraton. So it was $88.
88.
Yeah. You know what that would have been for a Michigan football
I know.
game? $600-700.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Oh, God.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, I'm excited to see. I feel like we're getting an international game at this point.
Right.
Just the odds make sense.
It feels that.
Yeah.
Feels that way. Yeah.
Anything else for football?
No. Good talk. That's a great way to put it to rest, I guess, until the new year. But April. I mean, we're only like 12 weeks away from the draft. We're talking about the draft in April, but
I'm not a mock draft guy though. I don't know if you are.
I don't really pay attention to. I pay attention to
my
top
team.
5.
I pay attention to my team.
Yeah.
I don't ever try to predict it. I mean, you don't really know.
I pay attention to like Mel Kiper, and like I pay attention to the top 5 guys that they do.
Yeah.
And then I always look at my team and who we were expecting to get. And that's it. I don't really go and dive into all the other crap and whatever. But so. All right.
I only care about my team.
Yeah.
So in about 40 minutes, we have a huge hockey game tonight.
Yeah.
Which, in the grand essence of things, means nothing.
It means everything.
Everything. Yeah. So this Four Nations, which literally a week ago,
I didn't know what the
fuck it really was. Like like the NHL, and I like the NHL. Okay, I'm a big Blackhawks fan, and when they were good for those years, I was more interested in hockey than I am. Like Blackhawks have stunk for years. I've gotten excited since they drafted Connor Bedard. I watch them when they're on. I don't ignore them, but they're on a little bit more in the last 2 years because of Bedard. He's a little bit of a draw. But before that, they started slowly, kind of taking them off a little bit on national TV, which is understandable. They're not winning games. So the one thing I've always the NHL, I felt like never marketed themselves very well, And
sure.
I'm not a big fight guy. Like the fights were exciting for that U.S. Canada game to start, but I'm more of I don't like the staged fighting. Right? It makes me feel like the WWE or something. Like I want it to be natural. Like
sure.
Like, I fucking hate you. You hit me illegally, or you hit my best player, or whatever. Like I love that. I love the goonish part of that.
Right.
But like to drop the gloves a second into a game, like
okay. So wait, which one? I don't know which fight number it was, but the Canada USA game when he threw his gloves down, skated backwards, goes around to the crowd, and then is putting his fist up, skating in, about to grab him. That was the second, I think. It was freaking the build up. You knew they were fighting. Like those two were about to go at it, but you can feel the build up before he went and grabbed his jersey.
And they said it after the first one, after his first brother, his brother Matthew fought.
Yeah.
He said, "We're doing this." Like we went over and said,
"We're fighting."
Going.
Yeah.
So,
dude, I mean, that was just. I can't get over like those things. Yeah, I guess I agree with you on some of it. Like the staging is like to me is stupid.
But on this level,
are, and then them booing our national anthem, like all of this, it's gonna happen. It happened again tonight too. Like
apparently, so I missed the first round robin of games. Okay? I did not watch.
I didn't watch Sweden. I didn't watch.
Yeah, it's Canada, Sweden first, U.S. Finland, and
I didn't watch that game.
5 seconds of each. Okay, I had it on, and again, like. The NHL. Maybe I miss. Maybe I don't watch enough. I watch a lot of PTI. PTI is not a big hockey show. Okay? They talk about it when they need to. They did talk about. They've talked about Four Nations, and they've had PK Subban on this past week twice. But I don't really watch the NHL Network unless the Blackhawks are on it.
Yeah.
So I had no fucking clue what this Four Nations thing was. I heard it. I thought it was some kind of international competition.
Yeah.
Okay. I knew the NHL was taking a break for it. I didn't even know that it's in the name Four Nations. I didn't realize it's
Four Nations.
I didn't understand how did these four get picked?
Right.
Was there a pre-qualifier that I missed? Like what did I miss? Right.
Yeah.
And really, the reality is it's just the four what they're deeming the best, the most NHL players that they can put on one international team is these four teams.
Yeah.
So, but I do think this is going to grow. Like the way.
Dude. Yeah.
But. For having not known what the fuck it was a week ago, to fast forward a week later, I cannot.
You're fully invested.
We're trying to make this.
We're making it shorter now. Yeah.
So that we
watch the game.
So I'm excited.
Yeah.
So the fact that this is still at the end of the day an exhibition game,
dude,
that it's getting this much attention, this ramped up, and what's going on with the NBA All-Star game, and how bad that's been for years now, and other All-Star games. I mean, baseball. I mean, football's long gone, and we're doing a flag football game now.
Yeah.
Like, the thing about hockey is you can't take a step back like you can even in football because they're doing the flag. The NBA for sure because they don't even play defense in regular season games, let alone an All-Star game.
Yeah.
But in hockey, like, if you're half skating, you're going to get fucking laid out.
You're getting killed.
So, like, you got to go and put it all out there.
Right.
And there's something about putting a jersey on of your country that just amps you up even more.
Yeah.
And by the way, all four teams, the jerseys were on point.
Yeah.
Like I would wear any of the four.
Yes.
Like they are sharp.
Dude.
Including Canada's. Canada's might be the best anyway. I've always loved the Maple Leaf. I think they have the best flag. Obviously, I'm an American, so I'm going to root for the U.S.
Yeah.
I do fear that with them winning Saturday night that it's one of those mantras. It's hard to beat a team twice.
Right.
Like, maybe Canada fuels their anger. I really hope that Boston doesn't boo the Canadian national anthem. I was surprised they didn't the other night. They didn't. And what I found out was Canada booed the national anthem in the first game against Finland. Not just I watched the Canadian game, but I did not watch the Finland game, but found out that they booed during that because they were playing in Montreal. So I did not know that, and I'm like, wow, like they fucking booed it. Now, you wonder how much of that isn't directed necessarily at the United States of America, as opposed to what's going on with our wonderful leader, which we won't get into it. I know me and you are different, But I do feel like that's where that's coming from.
Sure.
And he.
Well, yeah, I can understand.
Somehow considers them a threat,
especially that game, because that game came after like 3 days later, and it was the tariff announcement.
Yes,
right. I understand. That's probably definitely where it's stemming from. The whole Sweden one, though, I don't know if it's just like they want to just boo every national anthem that's not theirs. I don't know, but yeah, definitely, yeah. I get it.
So how can you hate Sweden? Have you seen the women in Sweden?
Have you seen, dude?
So I really hope that Boston doesn't do it, because then obviously the U.S. fueled that, which is why Matthew Tkachuk wanted to fight from the onset, because of that, and they wanted to prove their physicality. So does Canada try to harness that? Who knows? So I don't want to give them any fuel at all, because just revenging the loss is fuel enough.
Right? Yeah, right.
So let's not. I really hope, because I like their national. I like their flag. I like their national anthem.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't even argue it's better than ours. From just it's more short and sweet. I like it. So I know the words to it just like I do. Our national anthem.
Yeah.
So I really hope that they don't boo it, but we'll see what happens.
Sure.
The one bad stat going against U.S. In this tournament, the team that is considered the home team and is using the home locker room is 0-6 in this tournament.
Yeah, that's gross.
So that's not good. Obviously, the game's in Boston. They are considered the home team.
Yeah.
Using the home locker room. Charlie McAvoy being out does hurt them from a defensive standpoint. They tried to bring in Quinn Hughes, who's another Michigan boy. A lot of Michigan guys.
A lot of them.
Tournament, by the way.
Yeah, really though.
Obviously, they've been a hotbed for NHL talent.
We are not doing that well this year right now. It feels like we're not.
They're
not.
I mean, they're still ranked 12th. The pairwise rankings, technically they would be in the tournament right now. But what's going to happen is you're going to have underdogs win their conference. So basically, each team that's not supposed to win the conference tournament that does, each time that happens, Michigan's that much closer.
It's closer to do.
Now, obviously they split with Michigan State the week before, which they're number. I think they're number one again. Minnesota was number 2 last week, or 2 or 3.
Yeah.
They went 1-0-1 against them. So they're getting hot at the right time. They are off this weekend. They do play Ohio State at Ohio State next weekend.
Nice.
It really might have to come down to the Big Ten tournament. If they can win it, they get an automatic bid.
They're in.
I feel like if they at least make it to the championship series in the Big Ten, I think they might get in still. So we'll see what happens. But there's still talent all over the place.
Yeah.
At Michigan for hockey. So, but yeah, man. So Quinn Hughes did not get medically cleared to play tonight. They have somebody on a backup.
I saw that.
Yeah. So
yeah, he's not.
That does sound like they're going to be rolling with 6 defensemen, which isn't great. Not ideal.
No.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm excited to watch it.
Dude, they got, this is, just amazing setup, what they did for it. They got to keep doing it. Yeah. They cannot go back to last year. I mean, last year's NHL, I watched some of the All-Star last year. I remember it. And it was fun, but, this is just...
Yeah, they started going into a little bit of a format that the NBA did this year.
Yeah, where skills competition. They
have that.
Yeah.
But the game itself, they have 4 different divisions. And the divisions play each other. So, the Eastern Conference divisions play each other. The winner plays the winner.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, they've kind of been doing that format the last couple of years. It used to just be, East versus West. The scoring got a little out of hand. And, again, same thing. We were saying, hockey can't really take a step back. But it was happening a little bit. They were really, I think they were doing 3-on-3 or 4-on-4 or something. So, the scoring was up.
Yeah.
So, but again, it's gimmicky. I don't like it. This is it, and this is the NBA needs to figure it out. I know Barkley, Lil Bond, a lot of people have been clamoring for a U.S. versus the world type format.
Yeah.
I think it could work. There's enough foreign talent that may even beat us. But
it really,
but you'd have to almost spread it out. I don't think you could do it. I think for the NBA, it's a little bit harder to do countries unless you're going to start bringing in non-NBA players to kind of
fulfill it. Yeah,
but
we have some in the NBA that are a lot of foreign players in the NBA. It's growing fast.
Yeah,
but I think you're right. You're gonna have to bring in a lot of people from overseas just to fulfill the teams that are needed to play in that. So,
and I didn't watch any of the All-Star weekend at all. Saw highlights. They're talking about it. It's just terrible. It just looked like a bunch of junk. I mean, you had Kevin Hart out there, cracking jokes. They're dressing up.
Yeah.
Shaq and all them. You got.
You had 4 different teams.
Listen, I'm a Georgetown guy. I love Georgetown.
Yeah.
Mac McClung obviously has won it 3 straight years. He's not even a fucking NBA player.
No, he's not.
He's in the G League. So, like, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, if you're gonna, if he's not playing in the NBA, there's probably some dude in Brooklyn that is a dunk master. Like, he
could do it too. Yeah.
So, like, you might as well just bring in 3-4 random guys
right.
around the world and do a dunk contest.
Honestly,
so anyway, they're just. Again, I'm not even a big NBA guy, so and I used to watch the All-Star Weekend. I did, even when I wasn't an NBA guy, because it was something that was a little bit unpredictable. Like you always felt like, oh, the Bulls are going to win the championship again this year, or the Rockets, or the Lakers. Like you always knew who was going to win the NBA championship.
Mm-hmm.
So the All-Star Weekend was the one thing that I clung to. And this morning, apparently Brandon Haywood. Do you remember Brandon Haywood? He was a center. I feel like it was more like 15, 20 years ago. I don't know if you know the name. I believe he went to North Carolina. If Dante's listening, he'll correct me on that. But I'm pretty sure he went to North Carolina. He was a great college player. Didn't really pan out too much in the NBA.
Yeah.
He was around for a while, but more of like a role player situation.
Sure.
But he basically said, there was always somebody that took the leadership role and made sure that the NBA All-Star Game stayed competitive. And he referenced back to Larry Bird, to Magic Johnson, to Michael Jordan. And he basically said, and if I think about the timeline when I quit watching the All-Star Weekend, the light bulb came on. He said All-Star Weekend for the NBA died with Kobe Bryant.
Oh.
And if you think about it, I mean, Kobe won a couple of MVPs. He definitely, I feel like he's right. Like everything before Kobe, like during Kobe and before Kobe, the All-Star Game was competitive.
It was
fun. You know? Some of them got high. Like they gradually started getting higher, more high scoring.
Yeah.
But I would always remember like it would be 115 to 115 going into the fourth quarter, and then the final would be like 130 to 129.
Yeah.
Because it was like or it'd be even crazier. You'd be like 130 each after 3. But neither team would get to 150.
Yeah, let's go.
Because it was like, okay, now we're gonna fucking play.
Right.
And I hate that. Like I mean, like. Well, why you can't show an effort for 48 minutes?
Yeah, right.
So, especially when you're subbing in and out, like everybody's playing, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like you're going hard for 48 minutes.
Right.
You're going hard for maybe 15 each.
I think a lot of I think a lot of it deals within Adam Silver and the way that they come up and produce an All-Star game every year. Yeah, I agree. When it came down to when Kobe passed away and died, and he even retired. I mean, like after the years he retired and passed away. The game that was contributed to him that year he passed away was one of the best All-Star games that we've ever seen, and I'll never forget it. And when it came down to it, if they would have stuck with that formation, I forget now how they even did it because I'll have to go back and look at it and watch it. But I just remember it being such a great weekend for. All in all, the NBA, and now it's just I feel like it's turned into all of it. Like we need to go back to East and West. East and West. If you want to make it competitive again, let's do it. But yeah, you need leadership again, and LeBron's not going to do it. Kevin's not going to do it. Stephen Curry's not going to do it. Like these are the guys are just too old. Sure. They're done. Like they're on their way out anyways. So it's just not going to be those guys.
I do wonder the one thing that they did, and they did this year. They did. Correct me if I'm wrong. Rising stars. They had like a global team. So a little bit of that U.S. versus the world type team.
They had a G League team. That got freaking
and then G League team. So like Rising Stars or whatever. So they had these 4, but they went to 40. Okay, which maybe like if you're gonna go to East West, maybe you do that first to 100, and that at least makes them like not just sit back. Like it's like yes, I have to score 100 first. But I also got to make sure you don't get there first.
Right.
So instead of just like this willy-nilly for 3.5 quarters, and then I'm going to start playing defense now. You know what I mean? Because time's running out. Yeah. Like at least if you're held to like a point total, maybe that gets you to be a little more. That could be a start. First off, I like U.S. versus the world. Like maybe they can figure out. Like it is going to be hard to copy hockey because it's still the destination for a lot of talent.
It is. They come here
to go to the NHL.
It really is like a
yes. And NBA is getting there. It's way better than what it used to be.
Yeah.
But some of these countries that are good at basketball it's unique that they can't get the fuck out of the country.
Right.
So
right.
That's the other problem.
There's
the
other there's
and that's why Russia's not in this hockey tournament.
Yeah. So. Like they would have. Yeah. There's a lot of opportunity now when it comes to a young college player graduating, and yes, you may not have the talent, but it's not just the G League and then the NBA. It can be Serbia. It can be Jamaica. It can be Africa. Like these teams, there's a lot of fans, a lot of talent that are going into these overseas countries, and people are playing China. China's grown tremendously over the last 20 years for basketball.
Yeah,
it is truly one in itself. Like the way that these players can leave and go and make a living off of another foreign country and playing in these environments. I mean, I don't know if anyone that's listening has watched or seen a clip of Serbia's like league playing, like how insane the fans get.
Oh, the fans! Oh,
the fans are freaking like they are waving flags.
It's like Premier League soccer.
No one has ever played like that in the NBA, and they will never do it because USA is not going to wave flags and burn stuff in the crowd. Like it literally is like Premier League or like when you start playing CONCACAF and you start playing Africa and Egypt play. Like I remember that year when like Mo Salah was about to kick a penalty kick and there was laser beams at his eyes. He couldn't see because these are what the players do and the fans do it over the overseas countries. So it's crazy how insane it is growing basketball over there. Yeah. And I think Adam Silver knows it and he has to. There's a fix that needs to happen.
He can't let the NHL beat him in anything. I mean
like
globally, I do understand that the NBA is bigger than the NHL, and it's like. And there's things again. It comes up in my Facebook memories all the time. I've bashed the NHL for years.
Yeah.
Like they were. I don't know if you remember the Versus channel, which became like basically. I think it's NBC Sports now. It's changed so many fucking times. I don't even remember. But and then now it's basically Peacock. But so it started out like Versus. Like nobody had this fucking channel.
Yeah.
And that's like where the NHL went. Like it used to be on ESPN years ago. Went away, went on this Versus that 10% of the country fucking had.
Yeah,
I'm like, how the hell are you gonna get any bigger if nobody could see you?
Right.
But I mean, I always felt like, man, they keeps trying to get more teams in. I'm like, the talent level's going down. I'm not a big fan of like what Vegas was able to do. Great story. Their expansion team to the Stanley Cup Final. I feel like an expansion team needs to earn it right a little bit.
They do.
You know what I mean?
They do.
Like they basically took everybody's fourth best player, which when you do that, you end up with a good team.
Yeah. Right.
So it was tough for me to see that, and I was not a fan of it. But there's other things that I could sit here and nitpick about the NHL, but the fact is for America, it's always going to be the fourth most popular sport.
Yes.
And you can even argue soccer.
Maybe, like in a World Cup.
If it hasn't already. I don't know.
Right.
Well, I'm talking from like a major league standpoint.
Okay.
So MLS. I would still say the NHL is bigger than MLS.
Yeah.
But with
maybe
Messi there.
The viewership for them last year and the year before was great. Yeah.
They're not careful. No, although I'll tell you this. The Four Nations thing, if you're getting a casual person, there's a great NHL talent that was in this tournament. Maybe this gets people that don't really watch the NHL to watch this.
I mean, I'm doing it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't watch a whole lot of NHL. I'm not going to lie and say I like the Penguins.
Yeah.
When they're good. I mean, you know what I mean?
This feels like a Game 7. Like that,
it does.
And that's what I love about the NHL. The NHL, the playoff format's always been better, only because it's so unpredictable.
Yeah.
And a lot of that has to do with hockey is so predicated on luck.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have the skill, but that fucking puck bounces like you think the football is oddly shaped and can go in any direction.
Yeah,
you still have you're putting your hands around the football, so you still feel like you got more control, right? This puck, once you shoot it, this thing can bounce off so many different fucking things.
Yeah,
and end up in the back of the net or in your mouth.
Or in your mouth.
So it's crazy how much it's predicated on luck as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so all the time, 8 seeds are beating 1 seeds and. It's just it's chaos, and I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah,
and I feel like it's the hardest sport to actually win the Ultimate Trophy because you gotta be physical.
You're giving it every night
for 2.5 months.
Yeah,
to win a Stanley Cup. I mean, it's great. It really is a great sport, and if you're not into it, please watch tonight. I know we're not going to post this until after the game. So
yeah,
I guess we're too late on that message.
Sure.
No,
but people understand even before it comes out. Like,
if you did watch it and you are intrigued to watch a little more NHL, go to a game. 100%.
100%. It is so much fun watching a game, NHL game in person.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the best. It really is. It's so much fun. So much.
That's a good transition to. I want to talk about NASCAR. I want to talk about Daytona 500 on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
That's another sport that if you don't watch it, obviously the stereotype is you turn it on, they're turning left, they're turning left, they're turning left.
They're going left and they're going fast. That's what I did.
Yeah, like it's a lot of people like, what am I missing here?
They're going fast. They're
two things. This is another sport you got to go. Like when you go to a NASCAR race and you're up against the fence and they're coming at 180, 200 mile an hour, it's different.
Yeah.
Okay, and you'll have more respect for what they do, especially if you go to a race where it's the summertime, it's 80, 85 degrees. Mm-hmm. It's a fucking 120 in the car.
Yeah.
Okay, and they're sitting in there for 4 hours, minimally.
Yeah.
Sometimes longer. And they got guys coming up against them, passing them at 180, 190 mile an hour. Mm-hmm. One little hit, they're going to the wall. I mean, it's crazy. They lose pounds.
Yeah.
Every race. So
that's crazy.
They're definitely an athlete. Okay.
Yeah.
So don't knock it for that. The other thing you have to do if you're going to stick with the sport, you have to have a driver. If you don't have a driver, then I can understand it being boring as shit.
Right.
Because I have always been intrigued by like the personalities in NASCARs. Mm-hmm. There's always been more people. It's the one sport where I hate more people than I do in other sports. Like football, like I hate Aaron Rodgers. I don't like the Packers. I don't like the Steelers. But like individual-wise, I don't really hate that many people. Mm-hmm. NASCAR, there's 10 to 12 drivers every fucking Sunday that I hate. Can't stand them. And if they're dominating a race or leading it and I've recorded it, I'll fucking fast forward.
Yeah.
I don't like anybody on the Hendricks teams. Like I don't I definitely hate more people than I like. Okay.
Sure.
But you have to have a guy. You have to have a driver that you go all in with.
Yeah.
Right? And so for me now, it's Ryan Blaney. I was an Earnhardt fan, Tony Stewart,
mm-hmm.
and now I'm Ryan Blaney. So all three of them, for some reason, I've only got to see one Daytona 500 win from all those three guys. Even though Earnhardt, I don't know if he still does,
Dale
for years
Earnhardt
he had records for how many wins that he won at Daytona's track. Just couldn't win the 500.
Just couldn't win the 500.
And he lost it every fucking way imaginable.
Mm-hmm.
He led the final lap like 6-7 times before he won the fucking thing.
Yeah.
He had blown tire, ran out of gas, got wrecked, like whatever.
Oh.
And then he ends up dying at the fucking track. Like the poetic justice of that was insane. And then Tony Stewart, same thing. He could win one. It was almost like clockwork. He would win one of the duels Thursday night before, start on the front row, or third and fourth if you won the duel. And then 500 comes, he'd lead 60, 70 laps, couldn't fucking close the deal.
Yeah.
Summer comes around, he'd win the summer race. And it's just like, what the fuck? Now it's happening with Ryan Blaney. Like Ryan Blaney, the last couple of years, dominant car. Him and Cindric were just locked up in that.
Dude.
And I feel like if he was second on the final lap, he'd have slingshot around him.
He would have got it.
And nope, his fucking teammate was impatient.
Yeah.
Had to try to get it the three car mashup there, and dumps on
I gotta get into NASCAR. I'm going to start doing it. I don't know names yet. I don't know teams. I really didn't realize. Like I knew that there was teammates. I didn't know there was like 3-car teams and like this stuff.
That's the secret to. I mean, you gotta have. It's so hard as a one man crew.
Yeah.
There
are people who still do that, right? One.
There's a couple, but I mean, none of them are really ever. I told you, a little betting tip was to bet Algir to finish top 10.
Right.
So that was Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car.
Okay.
And that was the first time Algir hadn't run a race in 10 years. Or at least not the 500.
Yeah.
Then he ended up finishing ninth. Now, granted, there was a bunch of wrecks that got him there at the end.
Right.
He snuck in there. I'm not so. So the 500 is the Super Bowl of NASCAR, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even though it actually starts the year, which makes it
right.
So it is. It's the crown jewel. But I'm not a huge fan of restrictor plate racing because, again, going back to luck, like you just got to be in the right place at the right time.
Right.
They bunch up together the way that the cars are designed. Every race, it's always the big packs. You always end up having a big one.
Mm-hmm.
It's great for the fans. They love the wrecks. They love all the shit. It's one of these things. It's Atlanta is now that kind of track. Talladega's been that track.
Yeah.
Daytona is. I think I might be missing one in there, but they love it right now until somebody gets hurt again. Seriously,
bad.
Then they're probably going to be like, oh, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. Now they have made great advancements because the 90s were rough. I mean, a lot of people died.
Like crashing.
Richard Petty's grandson died. Adam Petty, which is Kyle Petty's kid. So
okay.
He died.
Yeah.
Neil Bonnet died. Earnhardt died in 2001.
Yeah, that's crazy. I kind of forgot. Like, I was only like 2, but at the time, like, I forgot he died.
God, you just aged me.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know, but like he actually died, and then his son started racing right after that. Well,
no, his son was racing already. His son was
already racing.
His son was in second place during that race. And then
no.
so Earnhardt owned the car that won was Michael Waltrip, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. was his teammate.
Mm-hmm.
And they were Waltrip had never won a race at all, of any kind.
Yeah.
At least on the NASCAR level. And so it was his first fucking win.
Yeah.
And Earnhardt was blocking, and the thing about Dale, Dale was an asshole. Like, and it's one reason, like, it was the one thing that my dad and I shared. Like, the same, like, we always disagree on all our teams.
Yeah.
That was the one thing that we had together. I was technically an Alan Kulwicki fan, but then he died in a plane crash. So I only got to root for him for like 2 years. He won a championship. And he was actually the last guy that was a one-car team that won a championship was him.
Damn.
Number 7 Hooters car, which is why I like them, by the way.
Hooters.
Loved Hooters at 12 years old.
Hooters.
So I became an Earnhardt fan, and so I liked him because, like, personality-wise, like, if I get road rage, right?
Yeah.
And I would love to be able to put people in a fucking median when I'm on the highway. So, like, I was always like, Earnhardt would be the guy, like, and his interviews were classic. Like, that's what I loved. I love the fights at the end, and like, and the talking shit to each other, motherfucking each other, and all that. I love it.
Yeah.
And Earnhardt was he was an asshole. He really was.
Sure.
And I was like, that's the persona that I would want if I was a driver. So I stuck to it. So the crazy thing about him dying was he was blocking for basically the cars he owned, so that at least one of them can fight it out, whether it was Waltrip or his son. To him, it was a win-win,
Yeah.
And he literally was blocking guys coming up trying to challenge those two, and it got him killed. Like, I mean, like the way and obviously, like, nothing was ever on purpose. It was just the way he hit the wall, and they did not have the Hans device, which is that big fucking thing they got to take off that holds their neck in, basically.
Yeah.
None of that existed then. So he died instantly, basically.
Okay.
When he hit the wall. So. Hopefully I'm not gonna get choked up talking about it. It's been 24 fucking years, and I'm still anything that's ever on TV. Oh my god, I lose it. That was a rough day. It was a really, really rough day. It was the first time I really ever seen my dad show emotion. Like he went for a walk. Like, he doesn't do that. He doesn't do like he had to leave. He didn't want to see anybody see him. I mean, it's just
Aaron, and that last name. Profound racing for years.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the name.
Yep.
That was.
Yep. And I started. So I went to a race. My first race was in '99 in Charlotte.
Yeah.
It was kind of like my graduation present, I guess. It was also the first time I went to a strip
club. Oh.
18 years old. But yeah. So my brother and my brother-in-law took me to Charlotte. It was actually the All-Star race, which takes place like late May.
Oh, okay.
And actually, I was actually 17. Because I didn't turn 18 until August. But I was like the designated driver, so I got like free soda all day. And they were spending more money on lap dances for me than themselves. And then the one dancer stole my Earnhardt hat. I was all pissed off. But so Tony Stewart was a rookie then, and he had the orange number 20 Home Depot. And I was attracted to that. Like,
I wore that. I was probably 8 years old. I wore his suit for Halloween. Oh, and I love Tony Stewart ever since I was little.
I had a Home Depot jacket.
Yeah, and that's why I love Tony Stewart, because I didn't watch racing, but I wore his Home Depot outfit to go trick or treating, and I just like love the orange. I love the Home Depot symbol, and then I saw his car over the years through Sports Center highlights and stuff.
Yeah.
But I love Tony Stewart. Anyways, go ahead.
No, that's all right. So he ended up. So the All-Star race at the time was the top 20, basically best NASCAR drivers at the time would be in the All-Star race, and then they had a race before it where it was like rookies and like maybe some of the scrub drivers basically.
Yeah.
And whoever would win that race would get into the main event, and Stewart won that. So, and again, I kind of had my eye on him.
Yeah.
And I was always telling everybody, because like Earnhardt was at the twilight of his career, late 90s anyway. Right after he won the 500, he had gone, almost 100 races without a win. Like, he was at the tail end of his career.
Yeah.
Basically. He had already won 7 championships. It was over, right?
Damn, yeah.
So I was kind of like pinpointing who am I going to like next, right? So I kind of latched on to Stewart. And he had to start that race 21st. That motherfucker finished second.
That's
against
insane.
I was all in. I was ready.
Yeah.
Again, this is '99. Earnhardt ends up dying in 2001. So when that happened, Harvick took over for him. I always kind of rooted for Harvick for that reason.
Sure.
Because it was like, okay, he took over the 3 car, which turned into the 29. By the way, that's another topic. I cannot stand that Austin Dillon, who's Richard Childress is the one that owned Earnhardt's car. Basically.
Oh, okay.
So Childress is still on the race team. You got Kyle Busch. He's got Austin Dillon.
Okay.
But Austin is driving the 3 car. So when they brought that back, Bucking pissed me, and plus a lot of NASCAR people off.
Wow.
Because this kid, number one, he's a nepo baby. Okay. I don't like him. I think he's talentless. Has a good team around him, but I think he's a hack. Okay. And to put somebody like that in the 3 car and bring it back pissed a lot of people.
That was Dale's number, right?
Yeah.
That
I
was
actively root against him. Like,
yeah.
It irritates the shit out of me.
Wow.
But anyway, I digress.
Yeah,
So I rooted for them, and I was happy when Harvick won like 2 or 3 races in. But Stewart, kind of became my guy. And then when he went and formed his own team with Gene Haas and drove the 14 car, won a championship, I briefly tell you that just to kind of give you the NASCAR history. Yeah. So back then it was like it still is. There's still like a 10 race playoff, but like guys get eliminated like every 2 or 3 races.
Yeah.
But back then it was like a championship, right? 10 races, best finisher wins. Stewart won 5 fucking times in that 10, and now he did not have a win going into the playoff, okay, but won 5 of the 10 races, and still had to beat Carl Edwards by a tiebreak. Carl only had 1 win in those 10 races. Tony had 5. That just shows you how many other like bad finishes. He was like, either win or he didn't, right?
Yeah.
Or he finished 20th, right? But if he wouldn't have won that last race, Carl Edwards would have won the championship. So Stewart could have finished second in that race and not won it. So
wow.
he won kind of like on a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
And that was Carl Edwards was Tanya's favorite driver. So like the last race of the year, I remember not going to the Viking bar because I'm like, I'm staying home and watching this race live. For the last race. So that was really cool to see. And he won 3 championships, 2 at the Home Depot car and 1 as a car owner. So that was really cool. It almost kind of bookended like the fact that when I got into it, Kawicki won as a car owner basically, and then Earnhardt. I went into Earnhardt, and then Stewart won a couple.
So Stewart is an owner now. He's an owner.
He is a. We got out of it, so like Stewart Haas Racing went away last year.
Okay.
They just weren't competing well enough.
Darn.
He's heavy into the NHRA, like the Hot Rod Nationals.
Okay.
That's where his wife raced and all that. So like he's been racing in that kind of shit. Mm-hmm. He hasn't put it in a NASCAR car for a while.
Wow. Yeah.
So he retired kind of early, but he had other aspirations and other dreams that he wanted to accomplish. Yeah. He raced in Indianapolis, like for the Indy 500.
Oh, okay.
In that series, in fact, that's where he came from in the late '90s, and then he also did like the doubleheader, which Kyle Larson has done. I don't know if Jimmy Johnson did it or not, but where they ran the Indy 500 in the morning and then flew to Charlotte and did the Coca-Cola 600, which is the longest race.
Wait, they did 2 races in one day?
One day, 1,100 miles.
Stewart did that?
Stewart did it twice, I think. I have to look that up, but
and he was the one racing the damn car.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That is a lot.
1,100 miles long fucking day. Yeah,
1,100 miles.
Plus
that is
flying a helicopter from Indianapolis to Charlotte. So just think about how you feel when you get off a flight, right?
Yeah.
But imagine driving
that dude
500 miles
I wish
in an Indy
now,
car.
After hearing that,
220. You know?
Yeah. Now after hearing that, I wish he had an ownership. I wish he was an ownership.
Yeah.
Like I would have rooted for those guys. Like
Yeah.
I don't know who to like you said, you should have a guy. I don't have a guy yet. I'm just getting really into it. So like,
well, I can tell
we'll
you
see
this,
Atlanta
though.
this week, and then
If you watch a race with me, though, the one thing about that I fucking like, I rag on the NHL. NASCAR is terrible about not staying consistent. They're very inconsistent. They let cheating be rampant with certain teams where all they really do is dock them points. They'll win a race and say, "Oh, we're taking the points away." Not going to take.
Is that like a season-long race point thing?
And yeah, well,
right?
but the thing is with the playoff format, as soon as you win a race, you're in a fucking playoff. So like, if you're not taking that away, it's almost worth it. It's like, oh fuck it, I'm gonna make my spoiler a little bit higher, a little bit lower, whatever. It's gonna give more speed, and I'll win the fucking race. Oh, you'll dock my points. Who gives a shit? Like, it reseeds anyway based on how many stage wins you have and all this other shit. But they just, like, and even Sunday night, all weekend at the duels, anytime a wreck came out, they had the little thing down at the bottom showing you, hey, the caution light's out. So basically, your eyes are supposed to look at the light, see who's up front. That's who they're going to deem the leader or the winner.
Okay.
Last lap. And they made that perfectly clear. That once the final lap comes out, the next flag wins the race, whether it's a caution or a checker. Mm-hmm. But all fucking weekend, it had been, if the caution came out, that's it.
That's it.
And we get to the fucking 500.
And then
nope,
it was green.
And so they had the caution light up there, and once they realized, oh, they're right in the rest of the line, they got rid of it.
It went away. I remember looking at they were going around the bend, and I saw the lights. I saw the yellow come on, and then it flipped off.
Yep.
And it was green. It was like, go. It was green. Like, I was like, what?
I'm a rules-based guy. Like, I'm always like, and you can hate a rule all you want, but if it's the rule, it's the rule. And if you don't like the rule, change the fucking rule.
Right.
But you can't do it in the middle of a fucking race. Like, so, like, I just don't understand it's so objectionable.
Right.
And I always felt like for years it really leaned, like Jimmy Johnson also won 7 championships, and 5 or 6 of them were in a row. And it was that period where I'm like, and I told Tony that, I'm like, as soon as Terry Stewart retires, I'm fucking done with this sport.
You're done.
I'm sick of it. I bitch about it every time it comes on because of it. Like, the rules were, and I'm like, they think this is cool that this guy's dominating. They lost so many viewers during that time.
Yeah.
And I would always make a joke when they would show that they would pan the crowd, and there's always empty seats. And I'm like, well, plenty of seats available at so-and-so raceway. I would say it every week. Like, and I would pause it and show Tony, like, look at this shit. Ain't nobody fucking here. So like, it looks like a minor league baseball game.
Oh,
so
man.
It was crazy. And it's like, I don't know how the fuck they're making money. Because less and less people were watching it. Even the big sponsors were going away. Like, M&M's used to have a great...
Oh, dude, that was a legendary car.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of the... Like, now you see, like, half of them, you're like, I don't even know who these fucking sponsors are. Dude, like, this is a big premier sport.
Did Logano ever drive the M&M car? I feel like he did.
I don't think so.
Maybe not. By the way, he's one of the names Kyle Busch did. He's one of the like bigger names that I know of that I like may want to root for, but I want to maybe go in like a younger guy.
Okay, now we're
gonna have an issue.
We're gonna have an issue.
Okay, great. So maybe I won't.
He is Blaney's teammate.
Okay, yeah.
But
yeah, you are a Blaney guy. I don't know. I like I said, I just know the Logano last name. That's why I'm.
Well, the only reason I came back, so I did. I held to my word. Stewart retired,
and you were done.
I was done. I quit fucking watching it.
Yeah,
didn't miss it. The only reason I got back was COVID. So they went to the iRacing, the virtual, and I think I must have missed the first week or something. But enough people were talking about it. Nothing was on TV, literally.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fuck it. I'm gonna give this a shot. Right. And it's literally like watching guys play video games, which you would think is the dumbest thing.
Yeah.
But it was something, right?
It was.
And it was intriguing enough because, like, you had NASCAR drivers doing it. They're talking shit to each other. Larson actually got
like next to each other, right?
Like the N-word.
Oh no!
Like it was in just like you might do it.
Oh yeah.
So like it's one of those like you know, so it wasn't like to be facetious in any way, but he got in trouble.
Yeah.
Which I probably will now for whispering it, but yeah. So I watched it, and then NASCAR was literally the first major sport to come back because obviously the COVID laws allow it. Like if you're in the fucking car, who cares? So I really just kind of clung to Blaney just because he's like a local guy. I was like, okay, I'm not a big, you know me. I got my favorite teams are all over the place. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like I'm gonna cling to a guy that's relatively from around here.
Yes.
Even though it drives me nuts that introductions, it's always he's from North Carolina. It's like, fuck you, you're one of them.
Yeah.
Like give us a shout out. There's enough
Right.
North Carolina NASCAR drivers that I think you can say.
Yeah.
Kinsman, Ohio, or Hartford, Ohio. Sorry.
Yeah.
His dad always did. Dave always did. So
Yeah.
And they race a lot of local stuff. I believe the Blaney family either owns or is part owner of Sharon Speedway.
Oh, cool.
So all of that is kind of incorporated in. So I've rooted for him now, and he did win a championship 2 years ago. Damn close last year. He was in the Final Four and lost out to Logano. So and that's another thing. Logano won last year. He missed the cutoff for the final 8. He was 9th. I don't remember the driver that got in trouble. I think it might have been Alex Bowman. They did dock him, so he went from 8th to 9th, which allowed Logano. So Logano did not qualify for the final 8.
Yeah.
But because somebody else got in trouble, he came in, and then the fucker won the championship.
He won.
And he finished one spot ahead of Blaney for the last race. So I was so mad. I didn't like him anyway. And so Blaney was that close from winning back-to-back championships.
Yeah.
And when I would even get mad at Ryan for the first couple of years I rooted for him, because even though I rooted for him because he's local, he is the exact opposite of what Stewart and Earnhardt were. And he's, I almost felt like he would get run over, get picked on. And I would always say, like, dude, grow a fucking pair.
Yeah.
Like, if somebody wrecks you, like, in the interviews, he'd be like, kind of, aw shucks, like, yeah, that's racing, that happens. I'd be like, no, fuck you, I'll see you next week.
Yeah.
I'm going to put you in a wall, and he started finally kind of fighting back a little bit, and then he won the fucking championship. So, so he finally must have listened to me, so I'm glad. And now I think he's super talented, so I'm back into it, but I will tell you, I'm back on the train of what I said with Stewart. When Blaney's done,
You're done.
I'm done again, I think.
Oh, man.
So
how old is Blaney now?
I've got good memories about the sport, and I'm trying to. It sounds like I'm amping it up for any listeners out there.
Yeah.
Blaney's kind of young.
I'm
probably at least 10 to 15 years away from that.
Okay.
Maybe, well, 10. And just I don't know what his aspirations are. He may, maybe he wants to get out, late 30s and live his life a little bit.
What? Who does Michael Jordan Jordan ownership? Who do they have?
So that's 2311 Racing. So it's actually
2311.
Joint ownership with Denny Hamlin.
Okay.
So I like Bubba Wallace.
That's who it was.
He's a funny interview.
That might be my team. I always loved Jordan.
Okay.
Maybe I'll have to look at the racers and actually see.
Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick's probably. There's a lot of people that don't like him. He's a little dweeby, but. I don't hate them. I always kind of liked Denny Hamlin. Denny was Stewart's teammate when he first came up.
Oh, okay, yeah.
A lot of people don't like Denny Hamlin anymore, but he's never won a championship. Like, I almost feel like he's probably one of the most talented drivers to not have won one. So I'm okay with that. I used to hate Kyle Busch, but I'm starting to.
The Busch name too was a big one.
He's a little bit on a slump. He hasn't won in like a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
But his interviews now crack me up. Like he definitely was like, "Fuck you" to Logano.
Yeah.
So like I'm back in his corner right now because I don't like Logano's. He's in there. He's in my top 3 of people I don't like. And I never did.
Yeah.
But he's kind of like that peak of his career that I'm over him. But I do. I root for Hamlin. I'm okay with if Hamlin would win one. But yeah, Reddick and Wallace, and I believe there's one more on that team now that just started, but I can't remember. Trackhouse Racing is kind of new. I like them.
Okay.
Yeah, Ross Chastain, and they picked up Shane Van Gisbergen from Australia or from New Zealand.
Yeah.
So Kendall likes that because she's a big Bluey fan. So the Australian accent, she's.
Yeah.
So he's a big road course guy. He won the Chicago race in his very first NASCAR start. But again, it's like a road course, right? Which is what he's good at. Yeah. But he held his own at Daytona. Daytona's a tough track.
Sure.
For the first time, but he's a full-time driver for the first time this year, so I'm excited to see what he does.
That's cool. I guess let me know if there's any new listeners for NASCAR for this episode. I don't know. Maybe not. Let me know. Comment down below what team I should be joining or rooting for, if you will. But no, those are great suggestions so far. That's what I need.
Well, I'll give you some more. If you want to come over for the Atlanta race,
that's what I'm gonna be watching on Sunday. I'm gonna watch.
You go your own way.
Okay.
I'll give you honest feedback on any of the guys and what I feel.
That's what I'm gonna need because I don't know yet. But for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
All
right.
The only other thing I did put on here, I know we're probably at 8 o'clock. I am recording.
Yeah, it is 8:06.
Yeah, I'm recording it, so if you want to watch some of the hoopla, I have a recording in there. But anything on college basketball, I know we're going to spend a lot of time on March Madness as we get closer to it. I just wanted to point out they kind of did the playoff reveal show, kind of like they do for college football, week by week. So
that was cool.
Here's your rankings. I love that they did the top 4 seeds in each region, and they were basically saying like, "Hey, if the tournament started today, this is what it is.
This is what you would see."
So it's kind of like you're at least predicting where they're going to go.
Right.
SEC 3 number 1 seeds.
Dude, I think they are taking over basketball because I think the Big Ten is.
Two number 2s as well.
Yeah. And I think the Big Ten is like in the football realm. They are. We saw it last year with the playoffs, and maybe that's the way that the football is going with the Big Ten. They are maybe taking over a little bit.
Yeah.
But the SEC in basketball, the Blue Bloods and the Kentucky, it's not just Kentucky. It's everyone else now. Yeah. It's not just Duke. It's not just UNC. UNC is not even good. It's these SEC teams that are becoming their program, who they are. Auburn, blue blood now. Never in a million years would I thought I would say that. Yeah. But that team is a freaking rock star. And that coach, man, every year he's stingy. He wants these players to be and play how they play, and they do, man. It's too bad to see. Like I think, like in St. John's too. I want to shout out Rick Pitino. I'm a Rick guy. Love him. Stingy basketball team. A stingy coach. I just wish.
What do you feel about they're not doing post game handshakes?
Yeah, I don't know how I
just
feel.
heard about it the other day.
Like how I feel about what is the message there? It depends on how it is perceived.
Yeah, I guess he's just not liking. There's been a lot of comments, people saying. Obviously, we had in our own backyard with Michigan.
Yeah.
The shit with Jawan, that Wisconsin game a couple years ago. So he's just maybe trying to avoid that. I don't know. It's still a bad look though. Like,
it is.
Just walk out.
Especially because these are like they're kids, right? They're still trying to. What are you teaching them?
I'd have to. You'd have to give me more compelling reasons, I guess.
Right.
Or
But all this stuff that came out with him and the recruiting at Louisville, and now we're here. So yeah, he probably maybe deserves to be not in the spotlight anymore. Yeah. Had a great team there and did what he did, but. Yeah, like I said, like SEC, to get back to it, freaking amazing to watch. Yeah. And Bama. They just know how to play basketball now. Maybe not so much a football team. We'll see. But, yeah, crazy.
So they did have Michigan as a 4 seed right now.
Okay.
Which I'm good with. I want to avoid that 5-12 if I can.
I know.
I
don't like that.
6 and 11 either. But so I'd be happy with a 4. I think a 4, they'd have a legitimate shot.
I think we can make it as far as we've ever made it this year.
Yeah.
We can. It's not going to be probably like, I don't think it's going to be Beeline's year, like when we made it all the way and lost to Nova, but like I think it is, and if not Final Four, man, it's Elite Eight, man. That's what I'm thinking.
It does come down to matchups. I wouldn't make any prediction like that until I saw the bracket, but
right. But the only thing is, I was like, the Elite Eight scares me because of our free throw percentage in the fourth quarter and the turnovers, like we've already talked about. So maybe not so much the Elite Eight. We got to clean that up if we're gonna ever do anything with that. So we have the team to do it though. These kids are good, man. That's. Dusty May.
If you give yourself a good enough lead, maybe it have to come down to that. And we've played so many close games. Dude. That's going to bode well tournament time.
Right. We know how to do it.
A deal, on close games, so they're getting it done. Obviously, you and I went to the Akron game on Tuesday. I got to see Enrique Freeman.
That was awesome.
Get his jersey retired. We were sitting next to Romeo Travis.
Yeah.
Which we didn't know that until one of the who the hell he played? Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois players said something. But, Travis also was the last Akron player to have his jersey retired at the Jar. So I told you, going down that even though the defending MAC champions, they were 13 seed last year. Freeman obviously got drafted to the NBA. I think this is a better team without him.
Without him
scoring, nobody averages more than 13, 14 points a game.
Yeah.
Almost every starter is in double figures. It's just a very. They were a little off the other night. They only got a 10-point win when they were a 20-point favorite.
Yeah.
But the defense really stepped up on Tuesday night. So I think that again, it comes down to a matchup, but I think this team can win a game.
Yeah, for sure. No, I agree. Especially what I saw and how they fought. Like I know all year, like they had the longest win streak. Was blowing some teams out in the MAC for sure, I think. Now with it all, with Northern Illinois, the way they played against Akron, but Akron kept it going and kept the defense. Like, I could see it. They're another stingy basketball team, I think, that we could win.
I think we should try to go to the last game of the year. I'm not going to make Kent. Doesn't sound like the tickets will be available anyway.
Nah.
So, let's look into that.
That'd be cool.
YSU tomorrow. They're on ESPN.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You.
Yeah, I think you. I don't think it's 2 tomorrow. Or maybe.
I don't think it's. Yeah, I think it's ESPN U.
Yeah.
Yeah, Akron Kent State is ESPN 2 the following week.
Yeah.
So it is a red out at the Beagley. $12 tickets for the upper reserve. I'm actually not going to be able to make it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Anyway, Michigan's on anyway. I forgot about that too. So.
Michigan State.
Michigan State tomorrow.
Michigan. I'm probably not going to go. I'm going to watch that game.
So I'm going to probably bypass that.
Yeah.
Hoping maybe they do get, depending on what seed they get, maybe they do get a playoff game.
Yeah.
Or a conference tournament game at home, but. If they win, they should get in the top 4 and get a bye.
Yeah.
So maybe they won't get one. But I like their chances. I mean, the 2 road wins were huge.
Right.
For them to get against the top 2 teams in the conference.
Yeah, when we were there, it wasn't, of course, a good game for them that day. But yeah, they turned it around, and we're showing up, man. Now we're showing finally, which is good. And it's just end of the year. I would love to see a playoff win because I saw a playoff loss in that.
I want to see a conference.
So.
I want to see them win a conference championship. I want to see them win the NCAA tournament. That would really make my day if Michigan, Akron, and YSU all win.
Oh, dude, I wouldn't. It would be nothing better for me if my alma mater in Michigan made it. I mean, Akron is becoming another team because I just went and we just sat courtside. The freaking was awesome. So, but yeah, that would be, man, the dream.
Right. Well, let's try to do another show before the conference tournaments for college.
We'll give all that.
So we'll try to get back first week of March.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get you to watch NASCAR race.
NASCAR. I'm gonna have my favorite team before we come back too. I'm gonna have my favorite drivers, maybe just a favorite driver, but I'll root for a team maybe too. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Sounds good.
All right, good show. Love you guys.